What's going on, everybody? It's Friday. How's everybody doing? Hopefully everyone is doing well and swimmingly well and good, great, grand, wonderful, bad, good, maybe, eggs. I don't know. We read it loud and clear. Control. What's going on? How's everybody doing? How's things? You got a wicked cough? Here, have some cough drops. Not sponsored. Nocturlux, what's that? Nice. Ah, it's scary costume. Yeah. Yeah, no. Made some hot tea. It's helping a bit. Good, 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 good. Where's the dress? What? Oh, Princessy. Ah, okay. Yeah. No. How you doing? I'm doing okay. Comment yesterday about Subaru Fuji Heavy Industries. You know Toyota owns 20% of Subaru. Yeah, I do. So? You LMA Hatch, you just got yeah, no, it's an I. Okay. I'm a Hatch. I just got home from Pima. Oh, that museum's amazing, dude. Did you see Jared Owen's video on spacesuits? No. I have not. I didn't do much else yesterday but attempt to sleep. Attempt to sleep. Hey, Alexis. Tier 3, 3 months in advance. 84 months. More months of support. Thank you. Thank you so much. Here, let's get the music back up and running. And what I wanted to do, guys, today is just have a mess around day in Herbal. I had a dream about building something in KSP. Specifically, I had a dream about building ball bearings in KSP. So, you know, let's do that. That'll be fun, right? It was revealed to me in a dream. Did you see Elon confirmed they will be attempting to do the entire moon mission by themselves? Yes. Like that battleship turret you tried to make? Something like that, Cirrus, yeah. He had a dream about buying 500,000 Callahan brake pads. Nice. Last, please. More good news today, Baron? Billions and billions to SpaceX. Elon Musk's SpaceX set to win $2 billion Pentagon satellite deal. Did SpaceX get the Golden Dome contract? Oh boy. Oh boy. Woo boy! That's gonna be interesting. Give me 1 sec, I just gotta shut the door. Woo, Nelly. That's gonna be fun. Alright, so I was thinking we could have some shenanigan time in KSP. Let's just build something ridiculous. Because, yeah, a spooky build or something. Is SpaceX becoming the East India Trading Company of SpaceX? Yeah? Is that bad? Kraken drives be spooky. Oh, that's the other thing, guys. Elon just kind of dropped this the other day, that Starlink satellites possess the data capacity to basically cloud data store stuff in space. So basically the Starlink, because each Starlink satellite can hold a little bit of it, like I guess it can hold information as well as relaying it in the V3 design. The Starlink constellation will be like actual cloud data center computing in space. Yeah, he just dropped that like yesterday. No big deal. Presses X to doubt. Okay. You have concerns about that. I didn't say I agreed or disagreed with it, fellas. I just said that he just dropped that the other day. That's kind of a big deal. All right, where should we start? I think I'll just make a new file here. Let's make a new file and let's go from there. Ball bearing prototype? Maybe? So I had a dream about doing this. And we'll see. I'm Ron Burgundy. So here is my... All right. I was thinking about this. So a ball bearing needs an inner and outer race, right? And then you need the actual balls in there. And the balls need to be able to spin. So I'm not sure how we're going to do that, but I did have an idea for how we can make the balls work. And it came to me in a dream, but I think that dream was because I showed Derek the other day the track design, the tank tread design that we came up with. And we'll go from there. So it turns out that these balls are like a perfect spherical collider. It is a ball bearing, the RCS ball. It is a perfect sphere. We knew that from making hinges and stuff. So theoretically, if we took like the smallest rotor, right? If we took the smallest rotor and we attached the ball to it, right? You can make a ball bearing that moves, right? And we, depowered the rotor, no motor, it just spins, right? And then we could set same vessel collision on this, and you can make a ball bearing. We just have to, what we have to do is this kind of is the inner race and the outer race, but we need to give this kind of a track to go on here. And I think I can make the track out of a decoupler, for instance. And then we can go 12 ball bearings wide, right? And then we can see if we did something like that, right? And we went 12 wide like this. Right, we could probably make this work, but now we need an outer race. How would we? I'm just trying to think of how we would do that. If we launched it into space, these would be space balls. No career mode today. I just want a day, dude, to just mess around. The tubes I don't think have a good enough collider. And now we're gonna need an outer race for this. How the heck are we gonna do that? And the entire outer race needs to move. So I'm gonna put the outer race on a bigger rotor, right? And we gotta think about something. We gotta think about this for a second. How the heck are we gonna do that? What's up? I just made a couple bucks for selling an HMI Redline G310 for the industry tech guys here. I don't know what that means, 2020, but that's cool. Yeah, this is what came to me in the dream right here, but I don't really know where to go with this from here. Let me think about this for a second. Human machine interface, sold it on Facebook Marketplace. Neat. A planetary gear? This, I was gonna make a ball bearing, but I suppose you could use this to make a planetary gear set, O-Force, yeah. Yeah, whatever the outer race is, it has to be able to move. So, we are gonna need this no matter what. Perhaps if we... What does the collider for this look like? Hold on. Is there an indent right there? No, there is not. This inner piece is the collider for the rotor. Okay. So get rid of that decoupler and attach this right here. Like I said, this is just something that kind of came to me in a dream. I don't know if it's going to work or not, but we'll find out. So now we need to select same vessel interaction on this, right? And then we need to go into our action groups here, go to AG action group 1 and enable same vesicle. What is it, a rock? Enable same vehicle interaction. Vesicles are something that form on rocks because of volcanic activity. I don't know. Thanks for that one, Brain. I appreciate it. SpaceX is going to become a natural monopoly in space. I don't know if I like it, but no one else is stepping up to compete. Yep. It's okay. AOL was a natural monopoly in the 90s, and they just went out of business the other day, so. It's not a boulder, it's a rock. I hope the inner machinations of your mind bear fruit. Have fun. Gotta get this thing shipped. Okay, bye. Okay, bye. That's cool, man. All right, let's just see if this works how I think it's going to work. Well, actually, I need something to rotate, so this would have to, for the prototype test, this would have to go like this, I think. Let's see what that does. All right, so let's... go in here like this, and all right, now let's try to rotate this. Happy Friday, guys. Oh yeah, here, funny man. I'm Rocco. I'm the funny guy. Why isn't that thing moving? Do these ones? Is it dead? Can't believe that just happened. I'm funny, funny, funny. That seems to be working. Why won't this thing go? Huh. Happy Halloween. Yay, happy Halloween, Benji. The rotors need to spin freely around the inner race. Well... Yeah, Mario, I know. I'm just testing the collider interaction here. Between these parts. It looks right, but the thing isn't spinning. It should be spinning. I'm not sure why it's not spinning. Alright, let's redo some of this. Get rid of those, get rid of those. Let's attach this like this, right? And then what we can do is let's attach the spinny bits to the spinning part of this rotor, right? And then if we move these a certain distance out, like that, we can have them ride. These will spin, and then they ride on the solid housing of the motor, right? And that'll form the outer, that'll basically form the inner race and the ball bearing pivot point, right? That'll do that. Now, what I don't understand is why we aren't, why this rotor isn't spinning. Oh, motor size and output. Idiot. All right, let's test this now. Let's make sure we have our action groups working. Yep, place anywhere, place anywhere. Okay, they're enabled in symmetry, good. All right, let's see what this does. I feel like the Kraken will come for this design. Good. That's what KSP Shenanigans are about, man. Huh. Okay, we're gonna get sick here for a second. That's working. Why don't you make me a cup of coffee? Twist a lemon, sweet and low. We'll start the butt kissing with you. That seems to be working. The bearing is moving. Are we picking up RPM from the rotor? 24. Good, 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 good. So setting the RPM limit on the bearing would help us here. Let's set it to 50. Now, what can we use as an outer race? It's a good question, Mario. What Tarnation did you just tune into? Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. It's fine. Thermometers? No. So how we're going to have to do this is we're going to need another rotor for the outer race to pivot on. Yeah, it needs to be, yeah. Okay. The outer race is really important to get this right, because it needs, you need to be able to bear load here. That arrays has to be very precise. That might be good enough. All right, let's take the pieces and move them in. Can we move them in any further? Yeah, probably not. Give me 1 second. You built a glider. We built something. All right, let's see what this does. The cost. Precision bearings are not cheap. That's important to understand. Precision bearings aren't cheap. Oh, that's good. Yeah, that's what I was wondering. The bearings aren't touching. Okay. Shouldn't clip SVI parts together. You can get away with it if you know what you're doing. With this being said, it didn't work this time. So we're gonna have to, what would be be the right way to do this. Hold on. Let's take these parts and turn them. That should get us more or less the same fidelity collider. Why is that one messed up? Now on top of that, these things need to be moved in. Sometimes this will work, sometimes it won't. It really kind of depends. It's actually pretty close. Let's see what it does. What shenanigans are we doing today? I had a dream about making ball bearings in KSP. So I'm making a ball bearing. No specific rhyme or reason, but wanted to see what it does. Yeah, some of them freak out, but some of them don't. So let's spin this. That's working. That's working pretty well, actually. Huh. Interesting. Yeah, it didn't like that. Huh. We're gonna have to... Huh. All right. Stop this thing. Huh. Guys, that works. It is working. I was just worried about picking up the friction of the parts here. Interesting. Okay. Okay. Do you feel less rusty in KSP these days? Yeah. Interesting, dudes. All right. All right, now let me select the outer race here, and oh, don't do that. That'll make something explode. They're not touching. They touch the inner race, but not the outer one. Okay. If it was touching the inner race, they would be spinning right now. The ball bearing would be spinning. We must be more precise. We must go deeper. Now that's clearly not going to work. All right, hold up. How are we going to make an outer race for this thing, man? That's, how are we going to do that? Because the inner race works. These collide. Is there any circular piece that we could use? I see, I don't trust the... I don't trust using that. That inner collider is very strange. I mean, you could try it. Screw it. Why not? That might be enough. That's enough. That would certainly make this whole thing a lot easier. I think this is Kraken bait more than what we just did, but because the inner collider is not a perfect circle on that thing, it's kind of like a hexagon or something. But I'm willing to give it a shot. That's, you know, it's a risk we're willing to take. You know the symmetry trick to get extremely high radial symmetry? Yeah. Alright, and Kraken bait. Okay, now let's spin the outer race. Nothing. Kind of looks like a Timken. Well, that would be the idea. I haven't gotten that far, Pandarific. Yeah, they're not rubbing. Alright. Okay. So what happens if we just take these and move them up a smidge? What happens if we move them on a 10 centimeter offset? So that's 10 centimeters. That's not going to work, right? So we move them. We're going to have to eyeball it. Move them right there. All right. Let's see what that does. Last. What's up? You shed Marvin eyeballs. Oh, okay. Looks right to me. It's definitely moving around that inner race. You can see it moving around. Holy crap, that actually worked. Okay. 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 All right. Okay. Okay. All right. All right. Okay. Are they spinning? They're spinning. Yeah, dude, they're spinning. The rotors are spinning. 230 RPM. That's... The outer race should be slower than the rotors that holds the balls. It's way slower. It's spinning at 30 RPM. These are spinning at 220. And those things don't seem to be moving around too much. Mother trucker. We did it. Wow. That... Alright. 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 What is the goal of this? Nothing. I had a dream that I could build ball bearings in KSP, so... I'm just doing that. Dude, I'm serious. I just had a dream that we could make ball bearings, and... I'm just gonna make a ball bearing, I guess. Alright, now let's try to see if we can make it a roller bearing. Hold on. If we make it a roll... I mean, actually, you know what? Let's just screw around with the ball bearing. Can't believe it works. Dude, me neither. Like, just that... Yeah, that's... That works. That's freaking ball bearing. It's... Yeah. I didn't think that this piece would work like that, but it does. Can we simplify this at all? Oh. And what took like, it took what, like 30 minutes? Yeah, something like that. What is SpaceX posting now? What is this? Hold on. Like many Americans, we are thankful for Mr. Bridenstine's service leading NASA at one point. He deserves credit for spearheading the creation of the Artemis program. After departing NASA, he created a lobbying firm called the Artemis Group, representing a host of aerospace companies vying for NASA business. Mr. Bridenstine's current campaign against Starship is either misguided or intentionally misleading. SpaceX was selected to design and develop a human landing system for Artemis along with Blue Origin and Dynetics during Mr. Bridenstine's tenure as NASA administrator. Starship was then selected by NASA for the Artemis 3 mission through fair and open competition after being identified as the best and lowest risk technical option, and the lowest price by a wide margin, by the civil servant team appointed to lead the agency's exploration mission by Mr. Bridenstine himself. The decision to select Starship was confirmed repeatedly following protest and litigation from the companies not selected, which delayed the start of the work on the contract by many months. Mr. Bridenstine's recent musings promoting a new landing system, going so far as to invoke the Defense Production Act, are being misreported as though they were the unbiased thoughts of a former NASA administrator. They are not. To be clear, he's a paid lobbyist. He is representing his clients' interests, and his comments should be seen for what they are, a paid lobbyist effort to secure billions more in government funding for his clients who are already years late and billions of dollars over budget. Sorry, music feels a bit lit against your audio. I don't know what that means, but I'll turn it down. That's... Wow. That, all right, SpaceX chose violence today. Don't tweet when you're angry, guys. You'll say something you don't mean. This is why I was not here sometimes this week. It's not good to stream when you have no patience. And I'm not saying that that's what SpaceX is doing, but yeah, we discussed this when Jim did his Senate testimony. He was saying that Gateway was the quickest way to the surface of the moon, which is that's like if you're in like Edinburgh, Scotland, right, and you want to go to London, saying the quickest way is going through Plymouth, which is not near any of that. Okay. Or if you want a US reference, that would be like being in my home city, Boston, and wanting to go to New York via Albany, New York, which is not... Good for SpaceX, honestly. It's such bullcrap how they're treated. Sometimes their products are the best and the cheapest. Dude, yeah, I mean, nothing that they said was incorrect.
Discovery, go at throttle up.
Give me 1 second. Boston to New York via Atlanta. No, Gateway is somewhere in the ballpark, Tessa, but it's not... Yeah. Edinburgh to Plymouth. Edinburgh to London via Plymouth or Portsmouth or something is, I think, more applicable because that's close. The Gateway's close, but it's not... It's out of the way. It's not... It's a stop, you know? I just linked that up in the Flame Trench channel. Holy crap, dude. I mean... Dude, I don't even know what to say. I didn't expect SpaceX to bring the fire like that. Like... I mean, we talked about this. We talked about all this stuff. Like, I think the one viable point that Jim has is that an interim administrator made the decision for HLS. It was the board of people that he appointed, but it was an interim administrator nonetheless. You know, and I think that's a very, very, very good point, that interim administrators should not be responsible for gigantic decisions like this. Holy crap, dude. Dude, he freaking cooked him, dude. Like, calling a spade a shovel. SpaceX has a really long chain of posts basically saying that Jim is a lobbyist and he's not actually trying to get to the moon quicker. He's trying to get money for his constituents as a lobbyist. And him saying that, you know, SpaceX is not the quickest way to the moon is a big crock of bullcrap. And I'm not saying that SpaceX is wrong, but also, we don't know what the other proposals are for opening up lunar exploration quickly. Like Lockheed's 30-month plan, we don't know what that is. I would be curious to see the architecture that he is referring to. But SpaceX isn't wrong, Fluffy, but I did say that when Jim said that Starship wasn't the fastest way to the surface, that was... The thing is that this is complicated. When Jim said that Starship isn't the fastest way to the surface, we don't really know what he was talking about. It's possible that Lockheed or something has that descent module architecture that's made from the ESM that I was talking about. Why is the camera flickering? Hey, Discount Engineer, thank you. So, I guess what I'm trying to say is that I think SpaceX is right. And unless, you know, I'd be really, really curious. How do I put this right without sounding like a dick? Okay. So far, per what Jim has been saying, what we've seen him say publicly in his Senate testimony meeting and just around on the internet and stuff, he's basically saying that Gateway is the fastest way there. Well, Gateway doesn't get you to the lunar surface. I guess put up or shut up. If the legacy contractors and the people that he represents actually think they have a faster way to go to the moon, let's hear it. Let's hear it. Let's hear it. Seriously, let's hear it. I think that's where I'm at, because I love Jim. Jim's awesome. He did a great job as a NASA administrator. He really shook things up. He did he walked a very fine line between, you know, this current president's first term and his constituents. He did a really good job opening up the Artemis program, etc., etc. So, you know, I have to give the guy somewhat of the benefit of the doubt, but also at the same time, all right, you think you have a better way? Let's hear it. There's 1,000 ways to skin a cat, guys. There's 1,000 ways to get back to the moon. I think, okay, if you want to be forthcoming and you want millions of taxpayer dollars, show us your architecture. Show us the architecture. It doesn't need to be conclusive architecture. Like, you don't need to tell us every single nut and bolt. Show us the architecture. Put up or shut up, dude. 90% sure they're the fastest way to the moon. 90% sure the faster way to the moon they're pitching is some kind of grift. That's what I'm saying, Travis. Yeah, that's what I mean. SpaceX says it's just status quo jobs program stuff. Okay. What I would do right now if I was Lockheed or Jim or whomever, whoever Jim represents, I would show us the architecture. Show what's your architecture? What's your plan? You think you can get there faster than Starship? Starship's going to get there in 2028. 2030 at the very latest, barring like another Ship 36 disaster. Like another Ship 36 disaster set them back probably about 6 months. If there are no crazy setbacks from now on with SpaceX's iterative design, they'll be there and they'll be ready to go 2028. I've always said that. Starship will be human rated in 2028. They'll be ready to go. Like I said, SpaceX needs ball bearings for all that spin. So that's the thing. The people that Jim represents, Jim himself as an ex-NASA administrator, SpaceX is saying he's full of crap. Well, you don't know for sure. He might not be. But that really depends on the architectures that he is representing. What are you trying to do? What are you doing? What's your architecture? You have a quicker way to the moon, but you're not telling us it. And until you do, I'm kind of inclined to agree with SpaceX. We just don't have that information. I did propose a theoretical concept that Lockheed says they have a 30-month plan to get to the surface of the moon. European service module derived descent module with an Orion derived ascent module under 4 tons could do it. Orion could get to rectilinear halo. Vulcan VC6 could launch this Orion derived descent module, ascent module, LEM thingamajigger, right? You wouldn't have to qualify many components, landing legs, a couple of other things here and there, but it's Orion derived, so it already works. And you could do 2 launches to get it there. VC6 Vulcan to rectilinear halo with your lander, right? And SLS Block 1 putting the Orion out in rectilinear halo. If they're proposing a concept like that, yeah, sure. That'll get you to the moon fast. I want to know what the legacy contractors are cooking up, really. And once again, I just want a concept of operations. We don't need a full end-to-end nuts and bolts architecture because it hasn't been made yet. What's your ConOps? We know SpaceX's ConOps for Starship because they had to tell us because it's NASA's HLS, right? It's their human landing system. If SpaceX doesn't have, if the legacy contractors don't have something that's at least a similar fidelity of the concept of operations for getting people back to the surface, I don't really care what they have to say. Why are we going back to the moon anyway? Why can't we go somewhere more useful like the belt? Grab metal-rich rocks, kickstart orbital assembly. The moon's right there, Travis. It's right there. An asteroid mission is very, very complicated compared to going to the moon. Now, don't get me wrong. Going to the moon's already complicated. But, dude, the way I look at it is that if we can't build a base on the moon, you're not getting to the asteroids. You're not getting to Mars either. What I would contend to say is the best architecture is build an architecture around going to Mars, like what Constellation did, or like what SpaceX with Starship is doing. And it won't take that much of a modification using that architecture to also go to the moon. It's a similar Delta V requirement. The thing is, so it's going to take the same amount of fuel, but the thing is that Mars and the belt is far away. You're designing, you have to design around basically a 2-year duration mission. Brother, we do 6 months on the ISS, 1 year if we're lucky. Going to the moon will enable us to bridge that gap between the 1-year missions that we do on the ISS right now, the 6 months to 1 year missions that we do on the ISS right now, and the 2-year missions that are going to be needed for going to Mars or going to the belt or anything. Orbital mechanics is it happens. So, Travis, the moon is a good place to bridge that gap. It really is. It's like it was meant for it. That's a nice NASA hat. Well used, broken in. Yeah, it is. I gotta clean it. This hat's super dirty. But I left all my other NASA hats inside. This was one I had sitting out in the shop, so it is dirty. The mission can last longer if you take Starline. Nice. You like the worm logo? I like the weathered look, man. Tenured. You know? So, the moon's a good proving ground. But yeah, that's, I guess where I'm at is until SpaceX until the legacy contractors who've been saying, oh yeah, we got a better idea. We got a better idea. It involves Gateway. We got a better idea though. SpaceX is not going to get there in time. They're not going to get there in time. What's our idea? I don't know. Give us money first and then we'll figure it out. So I kind of understand where SpaceX is coming from. If they really believed that they could get there faster, don't you think they would have touted their architecture already and compared it to Starship and say like, look, Starship is going to take time. It's not a bad architecture. It's going to take time. We have a quicker way to do it. Okay, what's your quicker way? EJ, Elon and SpaceX seems fed up. I kind of understand where SpaceX is coming from. You know, Jim himself held SpaceX's feet to the fire for the Dragon capsule, and then seemingly didn't with Starliner. Starliner didn't even launch during his tenure. They had one orbital flight test, OFT-1, and it failed miserably. They were lucky they got the capsule back. You know? If you have a better architecture, and like I said, I'm willing to give Jim the benefit of the doubt. He's not an idiot. Jim's pretty smart. He's a good dude. But I'm willing to give you the benefit of the doubt. But you got to show us. You got to show us what you're thinking, man. If not for the taxpayers, but for the court of public opinion. Because right now everybody thinks you're full of crap, including SpaceX. And the other thing is, and this is kind of what I was going with. Is look, SpaceX seems to be the only one that understands urgency in this business. And yet they're constantly the ones that get held to a higher scheduling standard than any of the legacy contractors. If SLS was held to the same contract standard, they would have lost the contract a long time ago. Artemis 1 was supposed to fly in 2018. Artemis 2 was supposed to fly in 2022. Artemis 3 was supposed to be 2024. So I don't really understand how, you know, NASA and certain officials are not awarding SpaceX the same courtesy that they show everybody else. You know? Once we can go to the moon, they need to start sending stuff to Mars and set it up so that we don't need to wait 10 years building the infrastructure. The moon should be for ironing out the human issues. I think that's why SpaceX is adamant about building the lunar lander anyway. I mean, they already paid for it. They already got paid to do it. Once the check clears, then we'll tell you our plan. Yeah, that isn't going to fly, especially since the other guy is doing the opposite of that. Orbital factories should be a priority. Cheap Delta V to transport raw resources is where it's at. If you can't get to the moon, you're not going to be able to do that, Travis. Look, there's only one person that's building around... There's only one aerospace contractor that's building around mass production of ships and mass raw material movement to other celestial bodies, and that's SpaceX. Like, I'm sorry, it is. Like... I don't see anybody else trying to build an assembly line for rockets that's designed for a flight frequency that's an extremely hardware-rich flight frequency to the sub-hour or to the sub-day launch cadence, meaning like 1 to 2 launches a day. Nobody else is doing that. That's what it's going to take. You're right. So it's going to take. There's only one aerospace contractor working on that, and that's SpaceX. And you know, I know what people are going to say. Well, Blue's working on sustainable lunar development. Yeah, okay, that's fine. Where's the factory, dude? Now, don't get me wrong. Blue is expanding like crazy. They're expanding like crazy. And, you know, Blue Moon Mark 1 and Blue Moon Mark 2, sure. Sure, that's great. That's great architecture. That's not for building a city on the moon. That's for building a scientific outpost on the moon, which might be what we need in the interim time. I'm not dissing on Blue's architecture. I think SLD is really good. I actually want them to follow through with it, and I don't want them to rush it. You know? I'm afraid of space privatization. Kirby, I've always said that NASA should be doing their own thing. NASA should have their own independent space program that does not rely on any commercial contractor to get to their destinations. Having the commercial contractors as a supplementary thing is what made public-private partnerships so damn successful. Public-private partnerships don't work if you don't have a destination that was built by NASA to go to.
Discovery, go at throttle up.
And that's another good point that Jim had. Without these destinations, without something like Gateway, and I'm not even that big of a Gateway fan at this point. I was, but the right time to launch Gateway was 5 years ago, when the rocket was supposed to be ready, and it isn't, right? And it wasn't. It still isn't. Right? Public-private partnerships only really work if NASA subsidizes a base or a space station or something. If not, you're just scattering your commercial contracts to the whim in the name of reducing costs, which just ends up defunding NASA. Look at the current circumstances. NASA needs to have their own program in-house. What I'm trying to tell you is that NASA should have their own Starship program. They should be doing something better than SpaceX right now. SpaceX shouldn't be leading technological innovation. But that doesn't mean that SpaceX should be hindered in technological innovation. They shouldn't be hindered. We shouldn't ask them to go slow just because NASA needs to keep up. No, absolutely not. Blue could be on track to catch up to SpaceX, but we don't know. Blue is nowhere near catching up to SpaceX with their lander design. Not even close, to be clear. And even if they are, their lander doesn't, like I said, their lander doesn't afford 100 tons. It doesn't make it so you can move 100 tons to the surface. It doesn't. There's no way. SpaceX is actually working on something that would actually make lunar exploration pretty damn sustainable and routine. And I'm not saying that SLD won't, but Blue has not really shown me that they can keep a flight cadence, except New Shepard, which is fine. But look, at the rate that New Glenn is going at, right? The rate that New Glenn is going at, they said 6 times this year. They're maybe going to do 2. Okay, that's a 60% margin of error. Well, 66, right? You said 6, you only did 2. So somebody is at Blue is very, very much underestimating how simple it is to scale. Or something else is going on, I don't know. Look, at the rate of iteration that they're going at, it's going to take some time. It's going to take some time. Remember, guys, they were targeting... Oh, crap, the phone's ringing. Remember, they were targeting 2029 for their lander, and they'd scaled their schedule as such. Asking them to speed up is not going to get you more sustainable or an expedient thing. It's going to make them go slower because they're going to try to rush and make more mistakes. Hang on. You're on stream. What's up?
Take me off.
Okay. I'll be right back, guys. Anyway, that was not good news. What were we talking about? Space and gateway and stuff. All right. So yeah, I mean, give me 1 second, guys. All right. Let's go. So I was working on a ball bearing and we were talking about Starship and stuff. Now, like I said, simultaneously, you know, Blue's rate of iteration is kind of slow, but that doesn't mean that they won't scale. They will. Starship is already attempting to scale. They're scaling up as they're building out their infrastructure as well. So with SpaceX, you're not going to see a finished lander, right? You're going to see a lot of Starship prototypes, and then the lander is just going to come out of nowhere. Like I said, that's the difference in their structuring. Now, you know, one could make the argument that, you know, until the update yesterday that we got from SpaceX, we haven't really seen much. But right now, what SpaceX is doing is basically qualifying all the components to build an HLS, and now they're starting to work on building an HLS that's centered around their V3 architecture, right? But there is some stuff with the V3 architecture that's unproven. Fueling, on-orbit refueling, on-orbit docking. Not two necessarily like insurmountable goals, but goals that still need to be proven out. And once those goals are proven out, you know, that might warrant a design change, right? So HLS is still a little bit out, right? But you're not going to see much flight hardware from SpaceX because they haven't, Starship hasn't gone into orbit yet, right? It hasn't demonstrated long duration loitering capability, docking, or refueling, right? But the thing is that you can't look at how SpaceX does things and you can compare it to like SLS. Just because they haven't proved these things out doesn't mean that it's 5 years, 6 years, 10 years out. SpaceX's rate of iteration is insane, and the rate of technological progression is absolutely nuts for what it is. And it's easy to kind of overlook that. What's the goal for this rocket part? Well, this bearing kind of came to me in a dream, dude. Yeah, just came to me in a dream. You were saying that asking Blue to go faster would slow them down. If you're trying to, so Blue has very, very concrete, what's called stakeholder expectations. They have concrete stakeholder expectations, and they go step by step ferociously, but they go slow. That's the company's logo. That's their motto. Gradatim ferociter, right? That's what they do. Blue is like, think of Blue like a steamroller, okay? You know, it's a steamroller. It goes slow, but it makes a really nice flat road, right? You know, it's just creeps forward a little bit at a time, and then once they reach a critical mass of like, their architecture will spring up out of nowhere too, right? But we don't see that as much. You don't see that as much because they're not doing iterative prototyping. They're testing all the components for making a lander, and then they're just going to build the lander. And then the lander is going to work, or it won't. Then you got to figure out what went wrong. You know? Did you dream about that bearing yesterday? Last night, I had a dream about building a ball bearing in KSP. What I was thinking, where I wanted to go with this, guys, is like, this clearly works, but we'd have to load up the bearing to see if it actually does something. To see if it actually can move this around. We'd have to put load on it. Part of what makes a ball bearing really good is that you can load it up. It's something that spins that's also structurally integral, right? If this is the case, you could use this to make a pin for a crane or something. You could make a pin, you could make a turret for a crane and make it so we don't get deflection when we go to turn the crane or anything. That was where I was thinking we could go with this. We could go with a tapered roller bearing on a crane design, and you could make a turret. This ball bearing is designed for axial loads, Travis. I mean, this is just a ball bearing. We could make it into a roller bearing. I'm not sure how we would make a tapered roller bearing in this game, but I'm sure I could figure that out. Give me 1 second, guys. Artemis took 10 years to its first flight. Well, SLS came around... When did SLS? The SLS program really kind of came on the books in about 2013. That's really when they kind of ironed out exactly what they wanted to do with that rocket. When did Artemis 1 first fly? 2022? All things considered, that's actually not bad, considering it's a super heavy launch vehicle. That's actually pretty good. But the problem is that SLS is not set up for scale. It was set up to build a couple of prototypes, and, well, you got what you paid for. Do you think Block 3 will have the same similar teething problems as Block 1 or 2 did? Honestly, no, Redbeard. I don't think so. I really don't. I do not think that they will. I think that, yeah, I don't think they will. No. I think Block 2 introduced components for Block 3 in very slowly, and that's the reason why we saw mitigations in problems. But yeah, who knows? I want to put load on this bearing. I want to see what it does. Another fighter drone has flown. It's the FQ-44. Yeah, Andrils. Dude, Palmer Lucky's a cool dude, man. I think that guy's super cool. Also, he's got a mullet. Mullets are pretty cool. So I'm gonna rig this up so we can slowly move the ore to load up the bearing. So on the left side, I got a bunch of rover wheels, right? And those rover wheels are just gonna hold that ore in place, right? And we'll be able to move. And what we could do is drive this thing down the runway, and we could slowly load up the ore on this other tank here. When is the bandwagon mission launching? Oh, I don't know, man. Saturday night into Sunday morning. It would be early Sunday morning for you, Shy.
Discovery.
Hey, Clayton, Tier 2 33-month resub. Thank you. What's Blue Origin's new lunar plan? We haven't heard their updated architectural plans, James. Okay, so... It's working, but there's a lot of friction in the design. But it is working, which is pretty cool. Yeah, that's doing it. Okay, cool. Ball bearing. I have no idea what we're going to use this for, and I think the race is moving around a little too much, but... I mean, this certainly isn't a high-speed structure, but we could... Here, let's change some things around. Yeah, Top Show, we could make a pin for a crane. That would actually be pretty cool. Here, let's do this. Let's put grip pads down and see if we can make a tread. Now these do not need to have like same vessel interaction on them or anything. You know what? That'll work. That'll work just fine. Just like that. Just for demonstration purposes. Last time I'm slightly behind. Could you make high impact tolerant wheels with this design if you had grip pads to the bottom? Yeah, I think that could be a thing. There's some YouTubers that did stock propellers a few years ago. Yeah, I was part of that whole thing, dude. I didn't post anything on YouTube at the time, but I did make stock propellers. Yeah, that was not smart of me to do that. That was not a smart thing to do. We'll do this way. Not bad. I'm not seeing much slippage. What's really killing me right now, Fluffy, is the gliders on this thing and the gliders on that thing. They're not smooth. It's like a 10-sided or 20-sided thing. So the glider is. It's not a smooth glider. If I had a smooth glider, like basically if I went and modeled this part, we could do it. We can make it right. Yeah, see, that one isn't moving, which means we got no friction. It's we're limited by the gliders with stock parts. If I made a precision piece, we could do this. Yeah, I could make a bearing. It'd work. But not bad, dude. Not bad for a ball bearing that's made out of parts that had no intention of ever being a ball bearing. That's pretty cool. Now it's working like a planetary gear. Ah! What if you used an open fairing? I don't know about the inner gliders on the fairing, though, Nuclear. That's actually super cool. Oh, we can go faster than that, dude. Yeah, look. Look at that. It's working like a planetary gear, which is interesting. That's super cool, actually. I think this confirms it's the single greatest game ever made. Yeah, right? Is the outer... Oh, here, hold on. Yeah. Yeah, freaking working like a planetary gear set. Look at that. That's actually super cool. Will it break if your FPS drops, though? My FPS is not going to drop on this computer, dude. So, something that I've noticed is that this design is using way less power than a rover wheel. So that's stuff that's starting to exceed impact tolerance. What is it? Yeah, it's the RCS ports. They can only bounce around in there so much before it registers as an impact with another part. That doesn't use nearly as much power as the rover wheel, which is very interesting. And if we could set the tread on these too. You could set the tread on them to be a lot higher. Need some bearing grease. Yeah, with the exception of grip pads, Kerbal doesn't really understand friction. Which makes me wonder what happens if we make the inner and outer race out of grip pads. What does it do, you know? What's the impact tolerance on a grip pad? 65 meters a second. Interesting. Light bulbs? I don't think that would get us any different of a result here. I need to see the collider on this. No. That is flanged, though. Yeah, it is flanged. Interesting. That could be useful for something, dude. Good dimension. Does that mean at the right tilt that those pads could be used for paddles as well for amphibious vehicles? You could do that, Tub Show, sure. People have done that. People have made steamboats in KSP. Well, steamboats. In KSP, it's totally done. It's totally been done. It's cool to know that this works. I kind of want to see what it does with a crane, you know? I love cranes. I don't know what the inner collider is on a fairing nuclear. We'd have to test it.
Discovery, go at throttle up.
Yeah, Fluffy, yeah. The orange sphere tank would get you a bigger ball for the race. The orange spherical tank, yeah, but Tessa, those have terrible impact tolerance. The impact tolerance is 5. I want these because they have... I miss when these things had 80 meters a second impact tolerance, because you could get away with this. We could spin that thing super fast if they'd had a higher impact tolerance. I'm still waiting for you to try out Kerbal attachment and build a crane. Yeah. I mean, Geek, did you ever see this one? See, what I'm saying is we could take that same bearing design and we could have it, instead of a radial bearing like what we just had, we could have an axial bearing here, and that should work. But the problem is the impact tolerance. These things need to be able to get crushed. So an interesting thing that we could do is the grip pads have 65 meters a second impact tolerance. They can actually take some weight. But the problem is they can take some weight, but they grip. I don't want a bearing to grip. You need a bearing to move. A bearing needs to be able to move. So we need a part that's high impact tolerance. Yeah. Can you change the grip with a Cal controller? Oh, I don't know. I don't know what's keyable. No. No, grip is not action keyable. We saw it, Hellfish. Yeah. That's something, huh? Part itself has 3 different grip modes. Well, I'm very aware of that. I know. I wish we had like a low grip. I'd rather just model my own piece at that point, Tessa. Can't model anything, guys. My Maya LT subscription expired because they don't offer Maya LT anymore, so I got that going for me, which is nice. Landing gear has high impact tolerance. The problem is that landing gear is sprung weight. You really don't want sprung weight with a bearing, Travis. I've tried to make bearings out of the landing gear before, but the fact that these things are on a spring makes it really difficult. Hellfish, I said it once, I'll say it again. SpaceX could be wrong, they could be right. We don't know. We won't know until... Well, Jim is advocating for a certain type of architecture. What architecture are you advocating for? It's an honest question. The imaginary one. You're advocating for an architecture on the premise of time expediency. Okay. How are you going to do it faster? Before we give you millions of dollars, how are you going to do it faster? Give me some con ops, dude. If you don't have a concept of operations at this stage, you're not doing it in 30 months. You must have some idea about how you're going to get to the moon faster than SpaceX. What is it? Could you do the fixed landing gear? Even the fixed landing gear is sprung, Pashto. That's the problem. I've used landing gear to make bearings before, and what happens is that it ends up creating reciprocal motion riding around on the axle. Exactly, Geek. You know, 2018 Jim wouldn't advocate for an architecture unless he knew what the architecture was. I don't know where that guy went wrong, but better yet show me that you've actually been working on something. Hellfish, that's where I'm at. I don't know if SpaceX is right or if they're wrong. That really depends on him showing us architecture. You think you can do it faster, okay? Show us. It's a fair question. You know, it's the kind of American are you? Question. All right, what kind of architecture are you going to use? You think you can do it faster? Oh, you're from Missouri. The show me state. What kind of American are you? You know, like, Jim's not from Missouri. He's from Oklahoma, but that's what I mean. You have a promise. It's not, yeah, that's what I mean, Noctrolox. You know, if Jim's going to sit there and he's going to say that Gateway is the fastest way to get to the moon at this point in time, well, guess what, dude? Gateway doesn't get you to the surface. Where's the rest of the architecture? If you think you can do it faster, show us. You don't need to violate any ITAR stuff, or I'm not asking for nuts and bolts. You know, Bob Benkin clearly had that statement. Bob Benkin works for Lockheed now. He clearly had that statement teed up. You know, Sean Duffy announced that, you know, he wants to open up the HLS contract to be expedient, and then just out of nowhere, Bob Benkin announces that Lockheed is working on a 30-month solution to getting astronauts to the moon before China. Out of nowhere. Just coincidence, right? Nope. Okay, what's the plan? Tell us the plan. You're not going to. Show us the plan, dude. Pretty simple. Until then, I'm inclined to believe with SpaceX because SpaceX has all their chips are on the table. SpaceX has showed us their plan. We know what they're doing. For what it's worth, I do believe that the legacy contractors can still jam. I think they can still ball. I really do. You guys got to understand, they are bound by law to use certain contractors. Like, if the legacy contractors have... If you let them go unhindered and basically let them source the materials, don't stipulate every single step and regulate them to death, they'll actually get stuff done quickly. They won't because national security. Easy thing to hide behind, especially considering our current option for a human landing system is very forthcoming with how they do things and is willing to fail out in the open. Like I said, Jim might be right. He might be wrong. I'd be willing to give them the benefit of the doubt. But I need to see some architecture. I'll decide for myself, especially considering we have taxpayer dollars at stake here. Lots of them. All right. The taxpayer stuff's on the line. Show me how you're going to do it. Joseph Shea, during the Apollo program, he's the guy that kind of engineered the LEM and the CSM with Max Vizet and a couple of other dudes. They had their idea for how they were going to get to the moon basically ironed out by 1964. Okay? And then they got a blank check and they got it done. If you don't have an architecture ironed out at this point, you're not getting anything done in 30 months. So they must have something. I want to know what it is. At this point, being expedient is going with the one that has the contract. It's possible, Hellfish. We're basically at the very... yeah. That's true, but we're basically at the very end, like the cusp of what could be possible. 30 months is enough to get a LEM done. It is. It would be a 2-stage hypergol LEM. That's it. With a big enough descent module to give you enough delta V to get down from rectilinear halo orbit. That's the only way this is getting done. That's your stakeholder expectations because Orion can't get you any closer. And you're not going to go redesigning the service module at this point. I mean, you might, maybe. Depends. Anything's possible with a big enough paycheck. Hey, Chief. How are you? Everything okay? I'm having another bad day, Chief. If I'm going to be completely honest. And it's getting tougher to focus. We were building ball bearings, and I wanted to try my ball bearing design with the crane, but this is not an artillery piece for what it's worth, guys. This is a gigantic crane. Here, I'll show you. It opens up like this. It has legs, and then it raises itself up off the ground. And then Kerbals go out and attach a lot of rigging to it to get it nice and strong. And then this lifts the whole thing up off the ground. And then the crane it's a telescoping crane, so it extends out. And then it goes up, and it has the ears and pendants to make it work right. Shmoog, hey, hope your day has been great so far. I popped in to ask you wish me luck on your wedding tomorrow, while remembering who we were 10 years ago. Hey, congratulations, man. I'm sure it'll be just fine. It'll just have fun, and before you know it, it's all gone. It's done. And then, yeah, you're like the center of attention for like the entire day, and then nothing. It's crazy. Goes by really fast, so just enjoy yourself and have a good time. Yeah, Ethereal. It's just good news after good news every day, dude. Yeah, see, this opens up, and then I should have a cal controller. That's the cable overclock. Crane rotation, boom angle, boom length. And then that goes up like that. Been the center of attention for so long that it's making you nervous. I think I used to want to stream for a living. To think you used to want to stream for a living. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with being the center of attention. Just remember, it's your day, dude. You and yours have fun with it. Don't let anybody tell you what to do. Don't let anybody boss you around. It's your day. You're in command. You think you could 3D print this crane, Topsta? Maybe. Yeah, and this is a really good crane design. This boom actually doesn't deflect very much, which is pretty sick. Because we made a pendant design for it. I made rigging for this damn thing that the Kerbals have to set up, and it's set up like a regular crane. And then the Kerbals have to attach the strut there, and these ears hold the boom in place, which is actually pretty neat. And yeah, see, these ears keep the boom from deflecting. We need a goalie Kerman as an operator. Yeah. Problem is I could never get the pin. So the pin is basically the turret that the whole thing pivots off of. I could never get this dialed in, dudes. I could never get it right. And that's why, like, this ball bearing idea is a good idea, but I've tried to make roller bearings for this in the past, but it really doesn't. They squish. They just get squished. This is like watching someone explain their code with 0 comments. Yeah. I wanted to go and build a ball bearing for this, guys, but I'm not. Yeah. Yeah, Topstead, that type of bearing won't work exactly, dude, but yeah, this could be, I mean, or bearing, what about the place anywhere linear RCS port paired with 2 hard thermometers as the shaft? Oh, thermo bearings, good fella. Yeah, thermo bearings aren't enough to keep this thing in place, dude. They pop out. Yeah, that's why I was thinking that if a single shaft bearing isn't good enough, a ball bearing should work. And I wanted to. Yeah, I wanted to build this. This just would have been cool to make. Yeah, it's just getting the pin to work. They would, in real life, a crane uses a turret and a roller bearing. It's very similar to a turret, like on a battleship or something. Just not sure we can get that part right. And I am using my stronger hinge here. I'm using my hinge reinforcement joint here to reinforce the hinges so they don't bend as much. The main boom hinge, our hydraulics, the ears on the crane are all made with these parts to make sure that they don't move. Because, yeah, stuff likes to move around. Hang on. What if you replace the 2-watt thermometers with grip pads? Would they still pop out? Since the collider is bigger. Well, the problem with the grip pads is that beautiful machine is this? It's a telescoping crane to pick things up. I would just like to say that the SpaceX media team has a way with words, and I haven't seen too much, and I love it. I mean, I think SpaceX has a good point, man. They're the ones that always get dumped on every time. Like, out of all the times where NASA chooses to put their foot down and be expedient, it's with the people that actually get stuff done. It's so backwards, dude. Where is this kind of contempt for Lockheed or Boeing? What about two Clampetron Junior docking ports separated by a single cubic octag strut for a ball bearing? I'm not picturing. I'm not picturing it in my head, good fella. I'm sorry, dude. All of a sudden, it's very difficult for you, boy, to focus. Fellas, I wanted to do KSP Shenanigans, but I'm having some severe trouble focusing right now. I got more good news today, so I'm probably gonna take a break before Flame Trench. Okay. I'm gonna do Flame Trench, and then I think I might be done for today. After that, I'm not. Yeah. Sorry, dudes. I will get back to playing more KSP and stuff. I want to do more Shenanigans streams like this. The ball bearing design does work. We can get it to work. What we're really gonna have to test next with it is putting load on it to see if it does anything. But I'm gonna. Yeah, I got it. I'll be back for Flame Trench, guys, and then I'm probably gonna be done. I need some time alone. I'll see you guys. I'll see you guys back here for Trench in a little bit, and yeah, if that's not your thing, all good. I'll see you on Monday. Maybe you should skip Flame Trench as well. I already said I would be there. So I'm gonna try to bring my A game, try to put on a brave face again. So we'll see what happens. I'll talk to you guys then. Thank you very much for watching. Sorry we didn't do as much Shenanigans, guys. Yeah, I'll see you guys for Trench. Thank you very much, and yeah, I'll see you in a little bit.